Hey guys, what's up? This is Inventor Boy 16, and you're probably wondering, why am I looking at what looks to be a really old CPU fan? Well, this actually is not a CPU fan. It is actually a circulator fan from a very old amplifier for like electric guitars and other things like that. This fan is probably about 50 or 40 something years old. It's from the early 60s to late 70s in the 1900s. So it is very old, and it actually works very well. It was originally black, but I painted it today because it was just getting really nasty looking, and there was parts of it that were this color of a gray that were showing through the black, and it was just chipping, and it was really bad looking. So I repainted it, and I put in a new cord, which is a higher strength. A vacuum cord doesn't really matter. It's bent up right there because it's just it's a monopolar motor. So you can put it in either way, and it'll work just fine. This thing is made entirely out of metal. The fan itself, the grill, I put that on from another fan that I had. But the fan is entirely out of metal, made of metal. The blades are made of metal, the motor's made of metal, the casing is actually made of metal as well. It's a very heavy metal. I think it's either cast iron, or it's steel, not stainless, but I think it's either cast iron or it's steel, because it's a very heavy fan for its size, which it's pretty big if you consider that this was used for an amp, because of the fact that the amplifiers and stuff like that were so big back then, because of the fact that all their electronics were not microprocessors or anything like that. It was all capacitors, relays, diodes, and all that kind of stuff. So they were pretty big. So this came out of an amplifier, and it was originally black, like I said. It was black matte paint. So this is a gray. And honestly, if you were to look at it with the black paint on it, you wouldn't even be able to, it would be so boring to look at. But I like it with the nice gray. It gives it sort of that, it gives it really that, it matches the vintage quality of the fan, because this is a vintage fan. It is about 40 or 50 years old. And it was made by, this fan was actually distributed by Radio Shack back in the day when they were making these fans. So it is a very old fan. All metal. And it actually has the, still has proper mounting holes for the brackets that you would be able to use for this particular fan. And it has the motor, it used to have the motor specs in the back. And it was really a very decent fan, and it still is. It works just fine. Even though I don't have the motor specs with me, I remember what they were. It's about, this fan it runs about 20 watts max power max power consumption, and it moves about, probably, by what it said, for its size, it moves about 550 CFM. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but it is a lot if you consider the size of this fan. So I'm going to plug it in. It's a very slow startup fan, very slow shutdown fan, but it's a very powerful fan. So I'm going to plug it in here. So you see its blades are spinning. It has a really cool startup sound, because and startup and run sound because of the grill I put on there. And the reason I put the grill on there is because those blades are metal, and if you stick your finger in there by accident while they're running, you could really, it could take a hunk out of your hand or finger or whichever appendage that you put in there. So you really do want to use this thing with care, and you really want to keep yourself well protected when you're dealing with it. Although I know this fan very well and I've worked with it for quite some time, so I know what it's capable of. So there's the amount of air that it's moving. I'm not sure if you're able to hear that, but it does move quite a bit of air, and it's pretty steady. It's not as choppy as what you would imagine. So it's a very steady running fan. And you can tell that even when I put my hand near it, it starts to change the sound of it a bit. But this is one of my oldest fans. It is older than my Panton, if you guys have seen that one, or have seen the videos I've done on that one. It is older than that one. And this fan is really, it's a really old fan. This model was actually made for exhaust fans in bathrooms and other things like that, for like exhaust. And if I shut it down, you guys can hear how long it takes for it to shut down. You see, it takes a good long while for it to shut down. And that's surprising because of the fact that this fan actually uses bushings instead of bearings. This is before the time that they really used bearings, because bearings were very hard to make back then and stuff like that. But I mean, ball bearings. So this, so yeah, never mind that. But oh my god, no! Sorry about that, guys. But so yeah, but this fan is designed as a ventilation fan or exhaust fan because of the fact that it uses extremely steep pitch blades. I'm not sure if you can see that, but they do have, it has a very steep pitch on its blades. And three screws are it actually uses 3 screws to mount the actual motor to the casing of the fan. So it's a real motor. It's not like those it's not like a CPU fan. If I get one out for you, I can show you. It's not like these common CPU fans that you see every day that have, well, these are relatively old ones, but they have the stator is solid, and then the outer frame of the prop is actually the shell of the motor. So, and that's what spins. But this doesn't have a stator on the inside. It's just a solid piece of wiring that is used to be able to run this thing. So it's a very old style motor, and it's a very old style fan, and it actually still works. This is probably by far the best condition that this particular fan has been in for a while, even though I did a terrible job of spray painting. Just absolutely terrible in the front part. But this is the best condition that it's been in for a really long time. And the reason I use these instead of the screws is because I don't have any mounting screws that are actually designed for this fan, because of the fact that it uses such specialized mounts instead of just regular everyday CPU mounts. But anyway, I wanted to show you guys this vintage circulator fan, and wanted to show you guys that it actually works still, and that stuff that's very old can often be very reliable. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Stay cool, YouTube. Bye.